people have got to, when you even look at the world, you've got to notice that, what's going on in your country, it's going on in my country, it's going on in every country. And none of this really makes sense if you've got the world as it's presented to us to be. If it's a system of independent countries and independent nations and independent governments, then why is every country going in the same direction? You've got to ask that question. And what I've described this as, like for many years, is we have a criminal cabal. We have a multinational, multi-generational criminal cabal masquerading as a system of governments and nations who play all the people off against each other and make them believe they need government there to protect them from the other governments, and it's just one big scam. It's a scam designed to give us, put us in a prison and to convince us to give our rights away and give everything that makes us human away. The world is run by very, very evil people, and it's in every single country. You can't differentiate between the countries. And what they're doing, like through fear and fear of terrorism and fear of climate change and all the rubbish that they cook up, they're getting us to lock ourselves down into a surveillance system. I mean, they tried it with COVID. They put out a certain, get you to go and lock yourself down and take the jab or else. And a lot of people didn't comply, but a lot of people did. And that was kind of a test run for what they're doing now. And they're planning on a new scamdemic as well. So they just had an event, I think, or they're having it next month, called Pegasus, which is like Event 201 that they had just before COVID, where they ran through the scenario of what they would do if there was a coronavirus outbreak, and then there was a coronavirus outbreak, of course. So now they're doing that again, of how they're going to handle the next pandemic, which means they're about to stage another one. I would say probably even early next year. Wouldn't surprise me. So, but that's the way you've got to look at it. I mean, it's a criminal cabal. And we're being tricked into believing that we need government to protect us. And we don't. Government, I said in my first film back in 2008, World War III has already started. It's a war being waged by the government and the bankers and the elite of the world against the people of the world. And it's a soft kill. It's a soft war. Nobody really knows it's going on, but it is. It's already going on. They've breached the trust of the people, the trust that the people gave them. They've abdicated their privilege to govern, which is a privilege. It's not a right. But people can't see that. They see there's a problem, and I think, well, I'll have to petition the government to change it. No, the government's the one who created it, and they did it deliberately. And they're doing it all around the world. We've got to see what this system is. It's not really a system of governments and nations. Like I said, it's a multinational, multi-generational criminal cabal. Until we're prepared to identify that and call it out for what it is and get rid of these people, then we're just going to go where we're going to go. I mean, we've got a cacistocracy running the world. Cacistocracy defined as rule by the very worst elements of society who rule exclusively in their own interests to the permanent detriment of all other classes. Essentially ruled by the shit people. That's what cacistocracy is. And that's what we've got. And people have to identify that and see that and stand up and do something about it. I mean, your government is invalid. They've invalidated themselves. The fact that they've allowed our countries to be overrun with migrants and all the stuff they've done. This is all treason. All of it is treason. And until the people are prepared to call that out for what it is and stop petitioning these people for change, then we're not going to get anywhere. And we're reaching that point now where, we've almost reached the point of no return if the people don't stand up and do something about this. Because ultimately, you can blame the governments, you can blame the people with small hats, blame the Jesuits, the Freemasons, anyone you want to blame. Ultimately, it's our tolerance of wrong behavior which has caused all of this to happen. I said on my last video report, if you really want to save the world, every country needs to stand up and basically overthrow their governments, realize that they're not valid governments. It's a criminal cabal. That is every problem we face in the world, whether it's starvation, whether it's homelessness, whether it's mass immigration, all this stuff is happening because it's legislated to happen by politicians who are sitting in abuse of the office that they hold. The main goal here is depopulation by whatever means possible, whatever they can get away with. There may be a hot war on the ground. But they don't really need to. They can do it through famine. They can do it through injections. They can do it through segregation. They can do it through their 15-minute cities. Once they've got people locked into 15-minute zones, they can simply declare an outbreak or a terrorist enclave or whatever in that zone and lock it all down. Once you're in your electric car and you're all geo-fenced, you'll find that your electric car won't work if you go outside your city limits. Neither will your credit card, neither will your cell phone, none of this sort of stuff. So they can just disappear people. And I mean, you may have a hot war across Europe, but the main goal of it will be to just bomb cities and destroy remnants of the old world and take out the population. None of it really works. None of it really makes any sense. You know, there's a group of people who live in a little country in the Middle East who wear small hats, and they desperately want the Muslims and the Christians to kill each other off. They want to destroy Amalek. And this is why, for the last 50 years, while we've seen all this migrant influx into Europe and into Britain and into Australia and into the United States, everywhere, because the United States and Israel have been out there bombing Muslim countries for the last 50 years, driving them into the West, so that people will think it's an Islamic invasion happening in the West. No, it's all been contrived. There's a plan put out in 1928 called the Kalergi Plan, where the people with small hats decided they wanted to genocide civilizations of European descent via mass migration, which is exactly what they're doing. Because these people have been kicked out of 109 countries 1,030 times over the last 2,000 years, and they've got a grudge on their shoulder. They really want to take out these white European countries that have kicked them out. So that's happening in the background as well. A lot of people don't realize that. People will let this happen. You won't see any real pushback until it comes to people's own backyard. And now in the United States, it's coming to their own backyard. The state of America, have you been to America recently? And all the migrants who come in are getting all the government handouts. Well, they're going, hang on a minute, I don't know if I really want to stand up against these guys because they give me a good paycheck every week, you know. They're doing the same in Australia, bringing in like 11,400 migrants a week or something into Australia. It's ridiculous. You know, Africans and stuff like that have never integrated into our society. And it's happening all over the world. So, and again, it's the Kalergi Plan, the plan to genocide white European cultures. And it's only happening in white countries, you notice. Happening all across Europe, happening across America, Ireland, England, Australia. It's not happening in Malaysia. It's not happening in China. A lot of people, like I said, they're seeing it in their own backyard now. So they don't have any choice but to realize that this isn't happening in every single country on earth out of coincidence. It's been orchestrated to be this way, and the only ones that are going to stop it is us. You can't expect the government to stop it because the government is the one who's done it. You've got to realize these people are in abusive office, and you've got to go there and tell them to get out of the building and institute new government in all of our countries. And maybe we'll get to that point, you know.
Yeah, you're talking about civil war, and I think that's their model. We've seen in the U.S. all this talk about civil war from movies and media and government
But you don't
figures.
need war is the thing. You don't need war. All you need is a mass shifting consciousness. And again, if they get violent with us, well, we might have to resort to counter-violence. But I think even a lot of the police, I mean, if you get enough of the population, you get 80% of the population to stand up against the government, are the police really going to turn against their own families and their own brothers and sisters when it's that many people? Or are they going to suddenly turn around and side with the people and realize that this government is a criminal government and they need to be replaced? Otherwise, we're not going to survive as a nation. It's really getting to that point, and I think we're going to see that.